In front of me, I've got the GameSir Cyclone 2 and I've got the BigBigWon Blitz 2 as well. And basically these are my favorite controllers. I use these day in and day out ever since I reviewed them, which, you know, for the Cyclone 2 at least was a little while ago. And it's only just started blowing up now. Like all these other like people are like, oh my God, it's so good. It's like, I've been using that for months. Didn't you see our review? But then along came the BigBigWon, which is a fantastic controller just here. This is the Blitz 2, and I equally love this controller. So let's find out which is the best and which one would I recommend for you to buy. Now, whilst they're both very similar, they're also kind of different, right, as you would expect. So let's just go over what's the same. So they both have TMR Hall Effect joysticks, right? TMR is just like, imagine Hall Effect, but like V2, like the pro version of Hall Effect. They use way less power. They have a massive resolution jump up from Hall Effect and potentiometer sticks, right? Whilst keeping the kind of like Hall Effectness whilst they're using magnets, which means they're way less likely to get drift. But that resolution bump, I can't stress enough, that's how much resolution there is for when you move the stick, how accurate it's going to be is so great compared to normal, right? It's the equivalent or actually greater than going from say 1080p in terms of like visual representation up to a 4K resolution. There's that much change. I think it's like 10 times more resolution. It is insane. They both have rumble. They both have gyro. They both have mechanical switches in pretty much everything. They have macro as well. They've got turbo. They've got button swap to the back paddles as well. And they both have software. So that's what's the same, but there are obviously some differences. We'll go over shape afterwards, but let's just keep going on the specs thing. So the Cyclone 2 actually comes with this dock, or you can purchase it without it, but this is really cool because this dock actually houses the USB dongle and it has the pins on the back, right? So that you can charge it like this. You're not faffing around trying to like plug in a cable. I've got this sat next to my computer and I just go like this and it's done. Not like that, like, you know, I sit it in it. And then it charges up. And the one thing I love is that when you want to play, you pull it off and it automatically wakes up and connects. So it's got like an auto wake and connect feature, and that is just so good. You don't have to press anything. It's like the most lazy controller, and I love it because you don't do anything. You just pick it up and it's connected. It's wicked. I really, really enjoy that. So yeah, super easy. It's a very small feature, but I like it a lot. The fact that I never have to worry about the charge. It's just always charging. It's always ready to go. When I finish the gaming session, I pop it down and it's just charged. So that is just a win. Also, we've got two large back paddles just here. We have a 3.5mm jack on the bottom just there. We've got 1000 hertz polling rate, which is really, really good. And we've got Hall Effect triggers as well as mechanical micro switch hair triggers, as you know, and you can also software mod it so that it's a hair trigger while still being an analog trigger if you want. So there's 3 different trigger types, and that's important here. That's a big feature in favor of the Cyclone 2, because if you want to play a racing game, you've got full throttle access, right, to the analog triggers just here. However, if you want to go over and start playing a shooter like Call of Duty, right, you don't want to be wasting travel with this, right? You want a mechanical switch or a digital input instead of this big flappy analog thing. And on here, what they've got is, do you see how they're transparent, which is cool, by the way, like super cool. But do you see this little like gold piece? You get your nail in there and swip it round, and now it is a mechanical switch instead. So super fast actuation, no pre-travel, tiny amount of post-travel, but really, really good. And you've got that option, right? So this is wicked for first-person shooters. It's really, really cool, but it's also really good as a general controller. But that's the GameSir Cyclone 2. Let's look at the Blitz 2 from BigBigWon, right? So this one's a bit different. Instead of 2, we've got 4 mappable back paddles. What do you call them? Back paddles, 2 on the back, 2 on the top. So we've got 2 on the back just here, but you've also got these 2 at the top, and they're all mechanical switches. This thing has got mechanicals everywhere, which is absolutely wicked. I really, really like it. But yeah, so some people might not like the fact that there's only 2 on the back, but you do have the extra 2 on the top as well. I can't tell you what the GameSir one has in terms of the frequency, but this has 1000 hertz gyro. So it actually has 1000 hertz gyro, which is really big because a lot of companies are like afterthought on the gyro. But yeah, 1000 hertz here. But the big one, and you've probably probably spotted it on the front, is this has 2,000 hertz polling rate. That's insane. So this is double the polling rate of the Cyclone 2. And if you don't know what polling rate is, it's how many packets per second the controller is sending to the PC, right? So it's waiting for you to press a button 2,000 times a second. It is sending that data. So as soon as you press something, off it goes and away it goes, and then your input happens in the game quicker, right? So this is double as fast as the Cyclone 2. 1,000 hertz is no, like, you know, nothing to sniff at. 1,000 hertz is wicked, but 2,000 hertz is ridiculous. And if you want to go and see all the details, like my Netflix like documentary reviews on these controllers, go check them out on the channel, because I actually go through and test and show you exactly the polling rate this is going and working at after I run some tests with it. It's pretty insane, and the same with the other one as well. Now the major difference with this one is it's digital only triggers, so it's only mechanical inputs just here. There is no analog triggers, right? So this is not for racing games. This is specifically designed for FPS games, and they even designed it that way, right? This is actually an FPS controller. They have purely ground up built this for FPS games. So I am pairing this against, you know, a general controller. So it's a little bit unfair, but, you know, they are top class controllers, because people have been asking it. They've been saying, hey, Andy, compare these two controllers. Now, the only difference here with this one is you've got an array of buttons on the bottom just there to change button swap, you know, macros, recording, turbo, and profile switching. Whereas on the GameSir, it's all done via the mode button just here, and then other button configs, right? So you can still do all that stuff, but it's a bit more confusing on the GameSir because you need to remember the inputs, the button configurations, combinations, right? Whereas with this one, it's kind of just laid out in front of you, which I kind of like. So now we know the specs differences from these two. But the big one is feel, like it really, really is, right? So you've got some big differences here. This is pretty much, the Cyclone 2 is pretty much just an Xbox controller. It sits into your hands like an Xbox controller, and it feels absolutely great. The sticks are super buttery smooth. You've got a mechanical tactile D-pad, which is absolutely great. I really like it. Mechanical face buttons just here, which are really nice. The triggers are just a little bit underwhelming. And I'm only saying that because I know what the Blitz ones are like, right? So when I say triggers, I mean the bumpers. They're just a little bit more mushy in comparison. And that's fine, like it's fine. They still work absolutely great. There's no like pre or post travel or anything. Again, check out the in-depth reviews. But yeah, the feel of this thing is great. The feel of the back paddles under your fingers is absolutely great as well. And you've got this kind of like frosted, transparent controller. They do it in a black as well. And when the RGB LED lights are on this thing, when it lights up, it is absolutely ridiculous. Like it's like a disco. It really, really is. It just glows like hell. So this feels really nice. If you're an Xbox controller user, you're going to like this a lot. This one is a little bit different because they've kind of got, it's almost like a mixture of a Switch Pro controller meets an Xbox controller. Like it's a bit of a weird controller shape because they've done that on purpose. They've designed it for 6-finger grip so that you can have all your fingers on, so that it's a competitive gaming like aim, right? Even though it's not a competitive controller because it's got macro, turbo, and all that stuff, you can't use that in esports. But they've made this and designed it to be like all fingers on, right? I just play it like normal, and it's still comfortable, you know. But it's a different shape, and you do need to get used to it because the horns go down. They don't like splay out as much. Do you know what I mean? So it is a weird feeling at first, but literally after like one match in Call of Duty, I was like totally used to this. Face buttons are lovely. These bumpers are fantastic. Like some of the best I've ever felt. Really, really good. And they use like a pivotal system. So this bumper actually goes down like here and moves there so that you can press it anywhere. And it is the same. It's consistent everywhere. It's absolutely brilliant. I really, really like it. So yeah, everything feels great. It's got mechanical D-pad as well. Super buttery, smooth joysticks. The triggers are fantastic in shooter games. You know, really, really good. The bumpers, the remappable top buttons and the back paddles, all mechanical, really good. It does have what looks to be a charging point on the back, but there's no dock available. It doesn't come with one. And that's a bit of a letdown. I would have loved to have seen a dock come with this as well. But yeah, 2,000 hertz over the dongle, the USB-A dongle here. Absolutely fantastic. I really, really like that. It is a very tough choice as to say which is better, because personally I use both, because I've got both here, right? So I would say, for me personally, purely down to the fact that this is digital only, I only use this for FPS games. So if you are an FPS lover and that's all you play and that's all you're gonna play and you're looking for a top-notch controller, well, first of all, watch the full review because I go through everything there in way more detail, right? But second of all, get this one. Just get this one because it is designed for FPS and boy does it work. 2000 hertz polling rate and digital triggers, mechanical switches everywhere. It is just fantastic. Like, I love this controller. It is absolutely wicked. There are RGB LEDs on this as well, but way more minimal and it's a bit more tasteful, like it a lot. But yeah, I just hands down love this. The shape is wicked. All the features are fantastic. Check out the review. But whilst I love that controller, the king for me is the GameSir Cyclone 2. I'm sorry. And the only reason I say that is because this is more versatile. So not only do we still have TMR joysticks with a massive range of resolution, right, for playing FPS games, again, you're going to have a fantastic time with these. You can enable no dead zone mode or raw mode, if you will, to get greater diagonal reach as well. But just the fact that you can change these from analog to digital means this is way more usable in any game. So if I'm just playing a normal game, a platformer or an action game or anything like that, I will reach for this. And if I'm playing an FPS game, that's when I whip out the big guns, because this does make a difference. So like I said, if you are just playing FPS, get the BigBigWon Blitz 2. If you are wanting an all-round, like the best all-round PC controller, the Cyclone 2 takes it for me because you've got the best of both worlds. But yeah, it really, really is a bit different as to who you're aiming these at. But if you're playing FPS games and everything else, get this one. If you're only playing FPS games, get this one. If you got money and can get both, buy both and just do what I do and just use this for FPS games. And talking about buying them, what are the prices? Because they are a bit of a different price point. The GameSir Cyclone 2 comes in at £50 UK without the charging stand, £55 with the charging stand, and the Blitz 2 just here comes in at £64 on their website with the TMR stick versions. They do a potentiometer version, but I'd say don't get that. Get the TMR one because it's better. So £64 versus 55 or £50. It is a bit of a jump up, but again, if you're just playing FPS games, it is worth the extra money. This is a fantastic controller. Let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite controller for FPS games specifically, and also just your favorite all-round controller? I'd love to know down in the comments. Maybe I'll review it, and obviously check out the full reviews of these because I go way more in depth on each specific one. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was a fan requested one, so thank you for throwing that our way as well. And whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, become a member. You can talk to me and AJ on a private Discord. And talking of AJ, check out his news videos on the channel and our podcast on this channel as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.